Welcome in. This is your Wednesday live chat for this week's Olympic Games. That's right. Apologies for the late time change here. Thanks for bearing with me. Not only are we on the road, Hawaii. I don't know if you can see the ocean behind me if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah, I guess you kind of can. Lighting's working through this time in the morning, but the time that we thought we had for the CBS Sports Network show, the live show, which we cannot change the time on, was a bit earlier today. So I've already knocked that out. Just came from there, ended a couple minutes ago, and I'm ready to rock and roll with you guys. So the next hour or so will be your time. Questions, concerns, comments. I will show you data and information and everything that I have available for this week's Olympic Games. I'm going to take a deep breath and just get ready to rock and roll here. We're going to jump right in. Matthew says he's 31st in the run and done. He's trying to find leverage over the last three events. The best players available are Im and Fleetwood. So he's thinking about Im in Memphis, Tommy at the BMW, and use Henley or Davis at the Wyndham. Yeah, I think that's fair. Without having the standings and everything in front of me, those two guys are probably locks to get that deep into the playoffs. And then Henley at the Wyndham, or if you wanted to use, I don't know if you have Siwoo Kim available or somebody like that who has a great record around Sedgefield, that would be fine as well. Robin says, who's a great first round leader? All right, let's jump into this. Basically, everything you see from this point forward will be my website, rickrungood.com. It is a giant database for fantasy golf and golf betting. It tracks 6 different tours worldwide. So that's pretty critical for this week. And the way that we're going to look at the first round leaders is as follows. We're going to go to strokes gained distribution. We are going to open this up to probably 100 rounds. And we are going to sort it by who gains who gains 5 or more strokes most frequently. And you're going to see a couple of options. You're going to see familiar names like Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele. But then you're also going to see a couple guys who are doing it on different tours, but also finding the same level of success. David Pugh, the Spaniard, $6,900. He plays on Live Golf. He's gaining 5 or more strokes to the field in 14% of his rounds. It's a pretty big number. Shane Lowry is 9,800 and Gavin Green is 6,300. Now, if you're looking to get someone who's likely in terms of none of these guys are likely to be the first round leader, but if you're looking to get someone more likely, Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa, probably a pretty good get. If you want to get someone who is a much longer shot, David Pugh, even Gavin Green, to an extent, I can pull you up David's profile here because I think he's also played a couple of. Can I zoom in anymore? Yeah, I can. Yeah, he played 3 major championships. He missed the cut in 2 of them. He did play a couple of Asian events in which he had great success earlier this year, Asian Tour events to go along with his live schedule as well. All those strokes gained metrics are in the database for you as well. Rick, thoughts on Daniel Hillier? Let's get to him. I've been playing him a little bit on some of these DP World Tour contests, and he just finished T19 at the Open Championship. He had a very good run in Scotland, actually. T46, T19. This is going to be a weaker field than both of those. That kind of snapped off a little bit of a slump for him that he was having at the Italian Open and the International Open where he missed the cut. If you look at his metrics, decent ball striker, gained 7.5 strokes on approach at the Open, very good putter, loses around the green. I don't care about that as much. I worry a little bit about the off the tee play, but he's not horrible there. So this is okay. He's only $6,400. He's projected to be like 5% owned. I think we'll be just fine with Daniel. Good call. With a small field and no cut, is it possible to have a lineup that scores more points with balanced and get all 6 top 20 as opposed to Scotty winning 1 other top 10 and the rest outside the top 40? Well, I don't think that those are the only 2 outcomes, Garrett, but you're going to need the winner. So the way that I think of this, Le Golf National can be a fairly difficult golf course. If you look at past French Opens, winning score, 10 under par, something like that. The Ryder Cup, the thick rough, that I don't think it's going to be as thick this week, but there is water out there. So on 10 different holes. So if you have, if you're not making a lot of birdies, then a larger percentage of your fantasy points scored are going to come from the finishing position, right? So winner getting 30. If the winner of the tournament only has 100 fantasy points, 30% of them are coming from his finishing position. So I think that finishing, if this was a birdie fest and eagles and all that stuff, I would think less of that. But I don't think that the top fantasy score is going to get to like 150 points or anything like that. Hey, Rick, if you're still in Hawaii, yep, I am. You got to hit K-Bay Bros for Pokeball. Really good in large portions. I don't know if we'll have time for that, but appreciate it. We did go to this Illy Pizza Grab and Go last night. Just top notch, just splendid. What are the odds for a US 1, 2, and 3 finish? Massive. I mean, that's so Scotty. So Wyndham Clark. So if you just look at the top American odds, it's pretty even between Scotty, Xander, Colin, and then Wyndham to be the top Americans like 16-1, which is kind of crazy. Now, so probably unlikely that Wyndham podiums here, according to odds makers. So now you're looking at any combination of a box of Scotty, Xander, and Colin. Astronomical, I would imagine that those odds are. If you truly ask me what I think the odds are, I don't know, 200-1, something like that. I think it's pretty big. Are there any players hopping the pond several times and playing the Open, the 3M, and the Olympics? Oh, well, let's do this. Change the cheat sheet back to classic view. The Open. Who played both the Open and the 3M? No, doesn't look like it. Because the only guys that are in this field that played the 3M were Kevin Yu, Emiliano Grillo, Matty Schmid, and none of them played the Open. So it does not look like anybody is doing the double bop. Rick, is there a way on your site to rank or sort this field solely based on recent finishing positions? I'll take an average of these players' last 8 weeks. Finishing position, no. I don't usually do a lot of finishing position stuff because I just think strokes gained is more intuitive. I guess what you could do is you could download the cheat sheet, right? You could go to the cheat sheet, download that, and then do it yourself in Excel or in whatever your CSV of choice is. But no, there's not usually, not that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Yo, Rick, R1 and Done is treating this as a signature event. Oh my goodness. Lowry to continue his heater or Tom Kim to avoid military obligations. Well, I'm not going to try to get into Tom Kim's head, but we can compare the two pretty easily here. So we've got both of these guys up. Last 36 rounds, the best player has been, believe it or not, Tom Kim, gaining a stroke per round, even though his results are a little bit more volatile. Shane Lowry's results are a little bit more consistent. If you think about the way this golf course sets up, I think that driving accuracy is going to be pretty important, and both are pretty accurate. So Tom Kim is one of the most accurate players in this field, 5th. Shane Lowry is 14th. They're both similar in distance. They're both pretty good on approach. Wow. I mean, I'll tell you what, I think the answer is Tom Kim. I don't think it has anything to do with military obligations, but I think it has to do with the numbers, and they're pretty close, but I think I give the nod to Tom Kim here. Thank you. Thoughts on Wyndham Clark to be a top 5 bet at 8-1? He would go on to say, showed at Sawgrass and Pebble, he can play positional golf courses, water, header court. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually very tough for me because I agree with you that on paper, this should be a good spot for Wyndham Clark. I think that, so you have to remember, this is kind of a manufactured golf course, right? It's more of a modern golf course than a lot of places that we would normally see. It's manufactured for major championships and viewing experiences and all that stuff, right? It feels a lot like Florida golf courses where there's water everywhere, there's bulkheads. You have to be very precise and precision based off the tee. All of that is good for Wyndham Clark. I also think that if you're a backer of Wyndham Clark, you don't even really care what his recent performances are because he has shown the ability to just flip a switch, right? He goes miscut, 56, T9, T10, right? So I think that miscut, runner-up. So I don't really care about any of this if I'm a Wyndham Clark backer. The problem that I have is, watching Wyndham play, it looks very strenuous right now. It looks like he is really annoyed out there, really bothered by every single shot. Maybe the Olympics is what he needs. Wyndham is not going to get a lot of backing from me, but I'm not scared to back him at long odds out of the blue at a setup like this. It won't be me personally, Chris, but I think that is okay. Could we see a 3-ball matchup between Dietrich, Højgaard, and Jaeger? Yeah. So let's go to the head-to-head tool, rickrungood.com, flip it over to 3-ball, and we'll plug these guys in. I don't know what number of rounds you want here, Joe. I like to do 36. You could probably go shorter. You probably should go shorter if you wanted to, for just one single round. But let's throw these guys in. So we've got Dietrich, we've got Nikolai Højgaard, and we've got Steven Jaeger. Again, I'm using 36. You can use whatever you want. I've got Dietrich winning this about 46% of the time, so his money line should be about plus 116. Then I've got Steven Jaeger winning at about 19% and Nikolai Højgaard winning at 12%. If you go more recent, like we do, let's do last 14 rounds, you'll see how these numbers will change. Just a little bit though. Dietrich still gets the nod here, 47%. Nikolai 17%. Jaeger 14%. Good luck. Have an amazing Hawaiian Big Asian. Thank you. You hit a hole in one to retrieve your ball. Instead of Genie pops out of the cup, awarding you a chance to be an Olympic gold medalist in any sport. You choose. Okay, well, I will remove golf, right? The answer is obviously golf, but I will remove that. Do I go for glory? Like what can I profit the most off of? Do I go for what if I'm now a gold medalist in basketball, right? And they're like, Rick Gehman has just won a gold medal with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Steph Curry. That's weird. And when they show all the photos of all the past dream teams and stuff, like I'm just hanging out on the side. That's kind of weird. Would be very interesting. People would have to explain that. And I could be like, yeah, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I played for Team USA men's basketball. Me and LeBron are boys. Of course, that would be interesting. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Do I just get the gold or do I get like the physical attributes? Like if I turn into, like if I say weightlifting, am I now a big dude or am I in my current frame like benching like 900 pounds? Because that would also be kind of interesting, right? I'd be a freak show. You could take me around the country and show me off and charge admission. Can I be the fastest man in the world? That would be kind of sick, right? I don't know. This is a good question now. I'm excited about this. I think maybe basketball because of how crazy it would be. But if I'm just out there like the new Usain Bolt, I don't know. That'd be kind of sick. Hey, Rick, this course seems to be a good fit for Abraham Ancer. Is his game in a good enough spot to consider him a decent long shot? Yeah, so I think that the longer shot bets especially from the Live Tour, I think Carlos Ortiz is a little bit better than Abraham Ancer. I do agree with you that course fit-wise, this is a pretty good spot for Ancer, but he's kind of cooled off a little bit. So he won in Hong Kong and then backed it up with 3 straight top 10 finishes. And then he's cooled off kind of some middling finishes on Live and then a T58 at the Open and a T16 at Live Golf UK. It's not anything bad. It's just not as good as we would like to see. Losing a little bit putting in recent weeks, losing a little bit around the greens. Nothing horrible. I probably prefer Carlos Ortiz, but if you wanted to go with Abraham Ancer here because of the fit, I see it. I just think he's cooled off a little bit. Also, I've got all the strokes gain metrics for Live Golf and everything. So rock and roll. B Hale, who is a member of the YouTube channel, thank you very much, says, are there money contests on DK this week? All I see are free contests with no payouts. Yes, there are. It says International Cup. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is a Massachusetts thing because I know that states do treat Olympics differently. So maybe it's just you, but no, there are contests. There's single entry. There's everything that I see as normal. So sorry about that, B Hale. Can you provide some thoughts on GPP lineup construction? Scotty's Bill, yeah. So again, I think you're going to need the gold medalist. So I think the gap between Xander and Scotty has closed. You know, if you go look at the power rankings for the last 36 rounds, you'll see Scotty's still in a tier of his own, but Xander is also in a tier of his own. 1.94, or actually, I'll go to the last 36 again. Sorry, I still had the 100 up there. I think Scotty's at like a 3 or a 2.9. Yeah, there we go. 2.9. Xander's at a 2.6. Then Colin and Roy are at a 2.1. If you want to, I think you could conceivably start at Colin, right? Or if you think that there's a big enough discount to Xander to fill out the, you could do that. But I think you're going to need the winner. I do think there are some decent options in the 6K range, though. Tapio Polkinen is $6,100. He's almost the min price. He plays well on the Challenge Tour. Chris Ventura is $6,200. He's crushing it on the Corn Ferry Tour right now. Fabrizio Zanotti has played a ton of French Opens at this golf course and has played them pretty well. Matty Schmidt coming off a T12 at the 3M Open. Sammy Valimaki, I'm a little bit indifferent on. But those are David Pugh at 69, Matteo Maticero at 7,000. These are all, I think, viable options to try to make up the rest of those spots. Hey, Rick, do you think Ludwig, Tommy, and Alex Noren all top 10 finish at plus 11 to 1 is a good bet? I don't have their odds for each of those finishes in front of me, but let's do a little bit of quick mental math. No, I don't. Unless it also includes ties. If it includes ties, it might be okay, but I think it should probably be, like 18 to 1, quite honestly. Josh says, what's your favorite play in each salary range? So I'll just narrow this down to one. Scotty. I'll give you the top two. Scotty and Colin. In the 9K range, I think it is Noren and Lowry. In the 8K range, I think it is Connors and Jason Day, but I don't love that range. The 7K range, I think it's Ortiz and Manicero. In the 6K range, I think it is I gave you those couple, right? I think it's Matty Schmidt. I think it's Chris Ventura. Ventura is probably my favorite. And then Jaeger or Puth. Hey, Rick, can you do a deep dive into, yes, his name is Pachara Kwangmatai. I don't even know what I have on him, but let's see what we've got here. So looks like he's played some Asian Tour events. Now he must be playing other places. So rickrungood.com, I have PGA Corn Ferry Senior Tour, DP World Tour, Live Golf, and the Asian Tour. But I'm assuming he's playing other places because I only have 5 or 6 starts for him. So he might be playing on the Challenge Tour. He might be playing somewhere else. So he finished T10, or he finished 10th in Macau, 43rd at the Saudi Open, and T28 at the International Series in Morocco. Those are the only last 3 starts that I have on him. When he plays on the Asian Tour, he plays well, but I don't have enough information on him here. I can't properly do a deep dive. So there is okay, so this is a good, I think I saw a question about this earlier too, and I wanted to get to it. So I'm going to pivot here and go to the underdog portion of the show. Armina barked from across the room. I don't know if you heard that. So the Pup Cup is back. Best Ball Pup Cup action is back, baby. So remember, there was Best Ball for season long, which I think I screwed up. There was Best Ball for major championships only. This to me is already the most compelling because it is just a 3-week sprint and all the weeks are back to back, which I think is what I liked the majors. It was just 4 majors, but the difference between the weeks in between were tough. So here you go. this Pup Cup, it starts with the first leg of the playoffs, the BMW, the FedEx St. Jude. So that's week one. If you get through week one, you go to the BMW Championship, which is the semis. And if you get through that, you get to the Tour Championship. And then in that final leg, somebody's going to win $20K off of a $10 entry. And you can fire as many entries as you want. I think 150 is the max. They have 20-second drafts and they have 8-hour drafts. So slow drafts and quick drafts. So when I get back home, I'm going to be firing a lot of these. I'll also be at the Wyndham Championship next week. I don't know if we've mentioned that. So going home very quickly. So Hawaii, back home very quickly, do laundry, get back out on the road. I'll be at the Wyndham Championship. I'll probably be at Sedgefield starting on Tuesday. So I'll be doing a lot of these drafts and everything. So the goal, I believe, if you're going to draft early, there is a little bit more leverage in trying to predict what's going to happen with the Wyndham. I think people over predict the Wyndham. There's really only probably 5 or 6 guys that are going to drop out of that top 70 and a couple guys that are going to get in. I think it's mostly locked. If you wanted to wait until the week of the FedEx St. Jude, I think that that's smart as well, because then you'll know who's in, you'll know who has the best chance of kind of doing all, moving and advancing. But the way that the strategy is going to work is obviously getting as many guys as you can to East Lake is the key. So are there going to be guys that get hot? Yes. You'll see that with the quadrupling of the points. So a golfer could very easily go from, what I think is going to happen is most people are going to forget about the better golfers in the, like Victor Hovland, for example, or Jordan Spieth, are going to be just as valuable as some of the guys that are inside the top 20 because the slate clears for them, right? If they get hot and they play well at a quadrupling of points, they can move up in advance. And they're going to be just as valuable in the Pup Cup. So I'll do a lot more on this, but I think you should start getting in now. If you want to get in, $10 an entry. I have a promo code. It's Rick. There's a link in the description. They're doing a $250 deposit match. I'll be at the Wyndham Championship next week, actually with Underdog on Saturday and Sunday, I believe. So it'll be a good time. Would you put more of an emphasis on driving accuracy or on good drive percentage? And is this course similar to 3M in that the rough is very penal? So from what I understand, and we can take off that Underdog thing. Thank you. What I understand about this golf course is that the rough is not going to be as penal as, for example, the 2018 Ryder Cup. But you're going to want to be playing out of the fairway, because when you're not playing out of the fairway, you are increasing your likelihood of finding the water on your second shot, or all that stuff. And then a miss into the water is obviously worth more than a stroke, as opposed to just missing a green in a different manner. So I do think that driving accuracy is more important than good drive percentage. And I don't know how the rough is going to compare to the 3M Open. I think it's probably going to be, it is a graduated rough. So missing just into the first, just missing a little bit off the fairway is going to be better than missing big out of the fairway. I think it goes from about 3.5 inches up to 5 inches of rough. And a good stat for that would be distance from edge of fairway, which is a stat that you'll see. Good morning, Rick. Yes, it's 8:25 here. Trust our 50th state is treating you well. Does I have a couple questions? I'll ask them separately. Okay, I'll continue in order and I'll get to those. Do you think that many go with 2 10K guys and 4 scrubs? Seems unlikely given how bad unknown the low 6K, 7K ranges. I think many will, Hank. I don't know if that's the right play though. If you go back to previous Olympics, and I know we only have like a 2 modern history sample size, but how many people thought CT Pan and Rory Sabatini were going to be on the podium in 2021? 4 rounds with no cut at a golf course that has trouble lurking. I think you're going to see some of these guys pop up, right? I don't think just because they're unknown does not make them bad, I guess is my larger point here. So here's one of those questions. Top of the board is murkier since Monday. Was Scotty Scheffler and Colin Morikawa. With modeling and ownership, 3 things stand out. Oberg looks very strong. Agreed. Hideki seems can't pass. Lowry, even as a pivot. I agree that as the ownership projections have started to roll in here, Ludwig at about 15.5%, which is, down off of Xander's 25.5%. And really, really no issues with Ludwig's game whatsoever. 10,300 on the price tag, which is a pretty significant discount from the top of the board. I think that there's a chance that Ludwig is the slate breaker. Hideki at 8,800, I agree, is probably mispriced. He is, although, riskier, right? So I think that if he finished 59th or he won it, I would not be surprised by any outcome. I think that you're getting a little bit more consistency with Corey Connors or maybe even Sepp Straka to a point, even if those guys lack the upside. So if you're trying to win it all, I think Hideki's in a good spot. And I don't know if Lowry is meh. He compared favorably to Tom Kim. I suppose the only issue is that he's $9,800, which is probably a bit too expensive. I think Fleetwood should probably be more expensive. I think Victor, Joaquin, Niemann, even Tom Kim should probably be more expensive. That's my only qualm with Shane Lowry. Can we do a deep dive on Sami Valimaki? Yeah, I wanted to get to that because he hasn't played well recently, but I think his longer term stuff is kind of interesting. So the Finnish player finished T12 at the John Deere. He's been missing a lot of cuts, very high upside player, but a very low floor. He missed a lot of cuts in Mexico, in Florida, which does not set up well for this. Didn't play well at some of these courses that have a lot of water as well. Didn't play well at the Rocket Mortgage. Yeah, I mean, this is it's kind of a tough scene, honestly. I was expecting it to be better than this. The T12, the John Deere, only thanks to 7.5 strokes gained putting is problematic. I don't know what the silver lining is here, or the gold lining, or the bronze lining is, but Sammy looks like he's in the midst of some pain. Can we get a deep dive on Guido Migliozzi? And it says, appreciate all your hard work as always. Woof, woof. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's go to Guido here, who had a run at the Italian Open, I believe it was recently. Is that right? He won the week before the Italian Open. He's actually been okay. So this is his run since May on the European Tour. He finishes runner-up at the China Open, T24 at the Sodal, 8th at the European Open, wins the KLM, then goes home and finishes T22 at the Italian. Heck of a stretch. Missed cut at the International Open, missed cut at the Scottish, but he did make the cut at the Open and finished T31. Ball striking metrics are awesome. Putting metrics are usually pretty good. Around the green, definitely above board. This stretch of golf's been really good for him. It's probably one of the better stretches we've seen in the last couple of years, quite honestly. So yeah, I think this is a pretty decent spot. After these two missed cuts, since May, he has played some very good golf. I wonder how that actually rates out. So everybody in this field, let's call it since May 8th, May 1st. Let's just call it May 1st. I wonder where he actually, yeah, I mean, this is obviously raw strokes gained. It's not comparable to say that Guido has been better than Jon Rahm or Corey Connors or Joaquin Niemann, but from a purely raw strokes gained aspect, Guido is the 5th best player in this field. 1.99 strokes gained per round since May 1st. Scheffler, Schauffele, Rory, Morikawa are the other 4. Very, very good. On Monday, you and Greg didn't touch or were inconclusive on a couple of great-looking plays. Bazane, Hoot, Hideki, EVR, Pan, Benyon. I like Hideki. I'm lukewarm on Seabez. EVR, I'm out on Pan, and then we'll do a deep dive on Eric Van Rooyen and Benny On. The skill set, well, I'll save the Benny On talk until we get there, I suppose. So here's EVR coming off a miscut the 3M Open, which is pretty ugly. Miscut the US Open, but between that he had good finishes. T6 at the Rocket Mortgage and a T39 at the Scottish. Has played well in some of these Mexico/alternate or Florida. I keep saying Mexico, Florida, and alternate field events. This is like a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. I like the comparable-ish places that he has played well at. I think I'm fine with that. Ben On, I think his best weapon here is going to be the driver. You know, if he can drive it well, he's going to give himself a pretty good leg up. T17 or T13 at the Open Championship. He's also crushed the signature events this year, which are, similar small field, no cut events. He had a very good run except for the Players Championship in Florida. I think I prefer Ben more than EVR in this scenario. Can you do a comment on Kevin Yu and Marty Dow? Yeah, do I have him in here as Marty Dow or do I have him in here as? There we go. The Marty profile is not particularly good. 2 straight missed cuts, including an alternate field event. His Korn Ferry Tour stuff is making cuts, but finishing outside the top 30. Then you go back to the PGA Tour, miss the cut there. Yeah, no, this is not very good. I'm not very interested in that, even though the price is pretty cheap. And then Kevin Yu, I imagine what we're going to find is a ball striking team no putt type of profile here. He's $6,600, and it's exactly that. He's having trouble out hitting a very bad putter. So even when he gains 7 strokes on approach or 7 strokes ball striking, he's finishing 42nd. It's not very exciting because of that, unless he's going to find a way to putt, which we have no idea. Probably out on both of these guys. Nick Taylor's having a very difficult year, which is a shame because it's a big year for him. Not only is it an Olympic year, but it's a President's Cup year. He was probably had very high expectations for him when he won in Phoenix in February, and then things just have not been good since then. The putter, which was his lightning rod for a lot of the last year and a half, has gone completely to crap. He's losing 4 strokes putting nearly every single time he tees it up. The driver hasn't been good. He's needing to save himself with around the green play. This is a very tough guy to back right now. Much prefer Corey Connors from Team Canada. This is a bad profile, unfortunately. Hoping he can figures it out. Thoughts on Dietrich? Solid strokes gained history. Yeah, so just to show you that, actually, I think I'll plug my tweet or my newsletter as well. My newsletter is, which I send out every single week, is 100% free. I included the results from Le Golf National. So this is mostly just the French Open, and then if there's a Ryder Cup that was played there, but we didn't get the strokes gained breakdown from 2018 Ryder Cup. And Dietrich's high on this list. He's played 18 rounds at Le Golf National for a 1.56 strokes gained per round. So that's what you're seeing there for Thomas Dietrich. And then I'll get you his recent stuff. Yeah, it's fine, right? I followed him. I think he played with Scotty at Valhalla. I thought he played great at the PGA Championship, and I thought he struck it beautifully. And he's having a very good year. Made the cut. So he finishes T4 at the PGA and T14 at the US Open. Stellar. T26 at the Scottish last time we saw him. Yeah, I mean, we should probably be pretty big in on Thomas Dietrich at this point. Puth is on the DP World Tour, not live. You are thinking of Adri Arnis, says Brooklyn brother always angry. No, I'm right. David Puth plays on Live Golf. He's teammates with Sergio. Is J Day too risky compared to comparable options? Prefer Connors, Noren, Tom Kim. Who's Demi? Is there a character limit? Because I always feel like these abbreviations I never understand. Straka. I prefer Connors, Noren, and Tom Kim over Jason Day. I probably prefer Day over Straka, but it's close. I definitely prefer Decky over Jason Day. Out on Valimaki. I talked about this a little bit. The Florida courses, I think, are good comps, like PGA National, Sawgrass to an extent. Aloha, Oliver. I feel like Colin plays better when it's a course they haven't played before. Ooh, I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that is true. I don't know if that's true, Oliver, but I have been just beating the drum on Colin Morikawa for months now. I think he's been one of the best players in the world since the Masters. I don't think it's particularly close. I think that he is easily a top 3 or 4 player this year. I think that the metrics are exactly where I want them to be. I actually think even some of the stuff I can't quantify, I think he's looked good. I think the mindset's in a good spot. I don't know how he hasn't won yet. I think it's I mean this is just an unbelievable stat profile. So you're gonna get support from me on Colin until something changes. But if it continues like this, it's very, very good. Niemann and Rombo, a good start. It's definitely going to be a unique start. Okay. So John Rahm getting here about 10% ownership, Niemann at about 12%. Let's start with Rahm. It's a small sample size. It's a very small sample size, but we might be seeing Rahm coming around a little bit here. He goes T7 at the Open, where it was the best golf we've seen him play this year. Then he wins on Live. So his last 7 rounds, spectacular. I'll even back it up to Live Golf Nashville and say, okay, yeah, maybe we're starting to see the breakout candidacy of John Rahm again. Joaquin Niemann, there's no doubts about. Joaquin Niemann's been on a raw strokes gained level, probably one of the best 5 or 6 players in the world this year. And that's with a runner-up finish at Live Golf. So I do last week. I do think there's a little bit of hesitation with Rahm just because I'm not sure if I'm ready to fully believe it. Niemann, I'm in on, and that would definitely be one of the most unique starts that you can get. Accuracy, kind of weak. I believe so. After approach, are you looking at distance or putting? If those are my only 2 options, I'll call it putting. Nolan, who is a member of the channel, thank you very much, Nolan. Appreciate you still doing this on your anniversary trip. That's right. It's our 5-year anniversary, Mina and I. She's producing the show. She's a sicko. Can you deep dive David Pugh? Yep. So I've covered him a little bit already, but just for you here, Nolan, just to flip back on this, coming off a T11 at Live Golf UK, his major championship season wasn't great. It was fine. His Live Golf year has been very good. His Asian Tour golf Asian season has been even better, and I like his game. He was a very, very highly touted amateur golfer. He's a very, very good player. Who do you like in a head-to-head matchup over 72 holes, Alex Noren or Victor Hovland? It's kind of crazy, but the answer is probably Noren here. And Victor just has not been very good. Noren's been spectacular. Outside of this mini slump, it's just T10, T13. If the winning score is 10 under, 11 under, 12 under, that helps Noren. Victor's, you can tell he's just statistically speaking, he's been a little bit off. I think there's some places he might get into trouble out there. Hey, Rick, do you have any sources who are on the ground right now? So I believe, and again, I'm kind of on my anniversary vacation, so I have not been as locked in. I've been pretty locked in. We've been doing shows. We've been doing this is also a working trip, so I'm pretty locked in. But I saw John Wood was tweeting out some videos from the golf course. I would start there. Any women's side, not quite there yet. Massachusetts does not let you bet on the Olympics. That we have the answer for that. If you had done a mega preview pod this week, who would your 2 outrights have been? Probably, I probably would have fired a big bet on Scotty, and then I probably would have picked maybe Hideki, or let me go back to the cheat sheet. Somebody I'm not thinking about farther down the board. Carlos Ortiz, maybe. Is I if we changed it to who would podium, I think Pugh becomes live. I think Matteo Manassero becomes live. I think Guido becomes live. Winning's kind of a different story here. Could you run a matchup between Benyon and Pavone? Sure. I don't know what number of rounds that you want here. But let's do it. Again, rickrungood.com. You can plug in any of these golfers that you want. My laptop's a little bit slower than my desktop, so just give me a second here. Let's do last 36. The model gives the nod to probably Ben On, I would imagine. Yeah, 63% to Ben On, 36% to Matthew Pavone. And you can see Ben On's been a little bit safer. Pavone's been a little bit better in the upside department, which also passes the eye. Top 3 stats for success, I would say, are as follows. Some type of driving accuracy or distance from edge of fairway, something like that. Strokes gained approach, strokes gained putting, bonus putting, something like that. Actually, we could just run a model. How about I just run a model? Custom model, rickrungood.com. Let's just get freaky. Let's just get freaky and just do those, right? Let's just do last 36 rounds. I'm going to have to zoom out a second here. Last 36 rounds. And I want to just do, see the problem. Okay, I'm going to put 10 on weighted strokes because all these guys are going to have all of these stats because they play on random. Some of them play on random. So let's do driving accuracy for 25. Let's do a strokes gained approach, which is under strokes gained approach. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. What did I say? Putting. Strokes gained putting last 20. And then what was the other thing I said? Driving accuracy, strokes gained approach, putting. Oh, then we'll just do the weighted strokes gained for the rest. Colin, Xander, Scotty, no surprise. Shane Lowry, Corey Connors, Tommy Fleetwood, Ludwig, Sepp Straka, Alex Noren, Rory McIlroy. With 60 golfers, and how many of which can you realistically say have no chance, do you feel it's a fair idea to go 20 to 30% ownership on 20 golfers with a lot of combinations that have a very tight pool? I think there's more guys that have a chance than that. But I do generally like to be tight. Deep dive on, I think you're going for Shubhaka Sharma here. Yeah, he's been playing great. So the ball striking numbers are there. He's got good results. So his last 3 are T5 at the Italian Open, T39 at the Scottish, T19 at the Open. Look what he did at the Scottish Open. He gained 10 strokes on approach, which is insane, but he's also a constant gainer. Look at his model here. This on the left here shows he is almost all approach play and all putting. This is a very high risk, high reward set of skills. If it works really well, and you can get top high end finishes. If it doesn't, he's going to finish like 50th. But I don't mind that. If you weren't in Hawaii, yeah, what would your betting card look like? So it would probably be a lot of podium stuff, right? You know, I would either throw a big bet on Scotty and just single bullet the gold medal, or I would go like Colin and Hideki to gold medal. But I would do a lot of podium stuff. So it would be like Manicero to podium and Chris Ventura to podium, and then a lot of different matchups is probably what it would look like. What golfers do you see being more aggressive with it being a no-cut event? Hard to get into their brains, but what you could conceivably do is you could go to the Holy Grail, go back the last handful of years, change this to no-cut events and just see who the best players are, right? I think that's pretty reasonable. Xander Schauffele, hold on a second. Okay. Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Colin Morikawa, the usual suspects are in here. Shane Lowry's been pretty good as well. It's basically the signature events. Oh, I was wondering why that wasn't. I was like, why are there so few rounds? Because I had that date range in there. So Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, I mean, Ludwig in only 31 rounds has been good. Minwoo Lee has been very good in no-cut events. Sharma only has 23 rounds in no-cut events, but that works out well for him. What's your wife's pick this week? Armina? Say again? Mm-hmm. Jason Day, she said. Okay, so the rules. So the top, it's all based on the world rankings. So everybody in the top 15 is eligible, except but you can only have 4 from the same country. So if you have 4 golfers inside the top 15 of the world rankings, they're all in. America is the only country that qualifies for. So that's why the Americans have 4 players and everybody else has 1 or 2. Then it just goes straight by rankings. It's next in the official World Golf Rankings until you've reached 2 golfers from each country. So that's why when you get to like Finland, you're all the way down to, so there's 31 different countries represented across 60 golfers. And it goes all the way down to Tapio Polkinen, who is Finland. He's ranked 427th in the world. So that's why it's a pretty top-heavy field. And then you get a lot of different countries represented the rest of the way. It has nothing to do with who won last time. It is strictly based on OWGR. Did you play Rainmakers? Any opinion on the termination of Rainmakers? I did play a little bit of Rainmakers. You know, I thought there's a couple of things. So we're still very much new in the NFT / blockchain world. And I've always thought that the best uses in my world, the best uses of the blockchain, number one, were to match people on opposite sides of bets, right? So if I want Victor Hovland and you want Alex Noren, the blockchain matches us up on the ledger and it takes 1% instead of a sports book taking 10%, right? You basically cut out the middleman that is a sports book. You're doing it all on the ledger. Everything's transparent. That would be the best way to use the blockchain, in my opinion. I'm not sure I've seen that done yet. If somebody has done that well, let me know. The other would be using NFTs as fantasy lineups, which is what DraftKings was doing, but they had a couple of problems with this, in my opinion. I think that there could have been, I could never decide if I liked or did not like the way that you could just play all 6 of your best cards, essentially, and build super lineups. That felt a little bit like you could buy your way to good line, which is fine. I get that. I'm kind of indifferent on that. What I thought the big problem was, the huge problem, is that your NFTs from last season in golf did not transfer over to this season. You had to like mint new ones and you could transfer them and trade them in. That to me only screams money grab, right? The problem with NFTs and blockchain in general is a lot of the projects have been pure money grabs when there is real utility behind all of this. Imagine a scenario in which you own a Rory McIlroy NFT or a Ludwig Oberg NFT that you can play in a fantasy game or in a bet, I don't know, something like that for the next 10 years. And the value of that NFT is going up and going down, right? And there's a marketplace. So maybe I'm an investor and I own, it'd be like buying shares of golfers, right? I own 10 Ludwig Obergs. Well, I can hold a couple, I can sell a couple, right? That to me is the way this should be done. The way that DraftKings did it, while I love the innovation, I love the creativity, I understand that they are a business being traded on the stock market and they need to make money, but it felt like a little bit of a money grab. All right, Rob, you don't have to ask the question 4 times. I'll get you, buddy. We'll do a deep dive on Emiliano Grillo. And then I think I'm at the bottom of the question. So unless there's anything else, we'll end this early. So you got last chance. Fire away. Here's Emiliano Grillo. It's nothing to write home about. The T24 at the 3M Open, one of the few guys to play. I guess he is doing Open Championship, 3M Open, and Olympics. So he's doing the big jump here. We've got good second shots, horrible putting, horrible around the green, and off the tee has left him. It's worse than when he was playing at parts of last year and into the start of this year. I don't see much incentive to be getting in on Emiliano Grillo. I will tell you this. Head over to the link in the description. That's where you can sign up for Underdog. It's where you can sign up for my newsletter, 100% free. We are flying out tonight, so be back, but I'm headed right back out on the road again. So we'll continue to keep, the schedule will not change for the most part. It's Mondays and Wednesdays, and as much CBS as I can get in on. Lambertus asks, who's babysitting the dog? My parents are. My parents get the dog when we're on the road. He loves it. It's like a vacation for him. All right. Aloha, mahalo. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being flexible. We will continue rocking golf as long as we need to. Forever, probably. All right. See ya.